my goodness. Hi. Let's try this. I think I'm out of the way. Sorry, I am actually running a little bit behind. 3 o'clock is my goal. We were actually out running around, running errands, and plus I had just come from being at the gym and the grocery store, and I was just a mess. I mean, I haven't even got my makeup on. So anyway, thank you for being here. So today, as I promised, is a talk on essential oils in relation to massage. And initially when I had thought of this, it was okay, well, time for some honesty. For the longest time, I've been in this position, or I've held myself in this position that and it's important to use more caution with essential oils, and I was almost coming at it with a self-righteous attitude when it came to massage. And for that, I just want to publicly apologize, even though you may never have heard anything from me or even thought that about me. It is a context that I had. And again, while there is an importance to safety, I wanted to, I realized that a massage treatment is a one-time experience. It's not something that people are getting every single day, nor are they doing it several times a day. So the oils that you select it's not quite as rigid, if you will. And so I shot out a really quick email this morning to my email list to invite them, to let them know that this was happening today in case that they would know of somebody. And while I was writing it, it became evident to me that with this, with the changes that are occurring with the current virus, the 2020 virus, for months now, it's become evident to me that building immune resilience is absolutely important. It's absolutely necessary. And I may have mentioned this here at one point. I actually did submit an abstract on research done regarding immune resilience and the inclusion of essential oils on that. And the purpose to that, and this is actually the reason why I did develop a hand sanitizer as a salve. It's a moisturizing salve that has the ability to not only protect on contact, so surface level protection, it stimulates the production of antimicrobial peptides. So it's augmenting our own immune system to produce the peptides that are necessary to combat any potential threat of a virus or bacteria, which is a really cool thing. So I thought, well, that might actually be a better direction to take this. Now, in March of this year, I spoke at a cancer center and handed out a list of oils that would be good to use if you, in fact, don't take medications. You've heard me say a number of times that, or you probably have, that essential oils actually, all chemicals are metabolized in the liver on one of the liver enzymes. So basically, that's how they're metabolized, which is then broken down into smaller metabolites and then either used by the body for other purposes and or eliminated. So when you have an essential oil, and I'm going to tag it as a genuine essential oil, there are specific liver enzymes that are responsible for breaking those down. For instance, like lemongrass is metabolized down 2B6, which contraindicates it with anything that's an anti-diabetic, as well as an antidepressant. So you want to use caution with lemongrass. So lemongrass would not be one that you would use in massage therapy, and it's from what I understand, it's a frequently recommended or requested one. And here is why I wanted to talk like this today, because it's important to be able to communicate and inform our clients regarding the use of essential oils, because they are chemicals. Whether they are genuine or they're fragrance grade, it doesn't make any difference. They are still chemicals. And so when we're looking at genuine oils, they have recognized actions in the system, and science knows this. The scientist has researched this. This is where we get medications from. This is how we know how to target specific genetic receptors. We know how to target specific liver enzymes. These chemicals and medications are used to regulate the enzyme activity, which means sometimes they'll slow it down, maintaining higher blood serum levels of the medication. So this is your timed medication, right? So this is what they're doing, and it's all based on their study of nature, for the most part. Additionally, we have the sulfation pathway. We have, obviously, the methylation pathway. There's the decarboxylation, and there's hydroxylation, as well as serum albumin. Okay, all of these, in some way, can be affected by any number of plant constituents. And when you have a client that comes in, you may not do a full assessment on medications. Maybe that's not what your clinic does. It's not what you do, and that's okay. I'm not suggesting that you begin doing that, because then it takes a lot longer to begin to process what they need. Really, what this video is about, or this talk is about, is encouraging the use of essential oils in every massage treatment as a means of supporting the body, actually accentuating your treatment. Not that your treatment's not good, but I mean at the cellular level. I mean really integrating your treatment, your hands-on treatment with oils, as opposed to just letting somebody wanting to come in and just select it for the mere fragrance. And as I said, lemongrass, from what I understand, is highly requested. But as I said, I also have this list, these handouts that I did. Like I said, I did a talk at a cancer center, and I did a ton of handouts. And one of them included a list of recommended oils if you do not take medications. And that has everything to do with constituents. Now, that said, this list that I have is also, again, for people who use oils on a daily basis. If they're coming in for a single massage, you might want to use caution and not use certain oils, or not even have them on hand. And I'm going to give you a list of oils that would be doable regardless of their medications, because it's just a one-time thing. But at the same time, you would also want to make sure that they knew that you don't want to go home and keep using this particular oil, because for whatever reason, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So the idea is, because it's a one-time deal, it's okay. There's more of an expansive list, is what I'm trying to say. However, there are still oils that you don't want to use. Like, for example, citrus. You just want to avoid citrus altogether, because limonene, which now that rolls into other oils, and I'll name a few here in a minute. But citrus oils are high in limonene, and limonene binds to serum albumin. And if your client is currently taking a medication, chances are that something that they're taking would be cleared from the body with serum albumin, and using an oil with limonene could potentially lead to an adverse reaction, because the medication's not being cleared like it's supposed to be. So that's something to remember. So, number one, limonene. You really just want to stay away from oils with limonene, which means now you want to make sure that you know what's in your bottle. You absolutely need to know what's in your bottle. And that means whoever you get your oils from, you want to make sure you get a list of constituents. Not even to double check if it's authentic and genuine, just to make sure you know what's in that bottle. Because if the oil that you get, like I saw an example the other day, and I was talking about it on here, hemakaline, which is sesquiterpene, hydrocarbon sesquiterpene to be precise. And I saw on a website that represents one of the bigger companies saying that their helichrysum had hemakaline in it, and I'm like, not if it's genuine, so if you have helichrysum with hemakaline in it, then you have a different breed of helichrysum, and it's not going to have the same. It's not going to have the same effect on the body. It's going to be a different chemical reaction altogether. And essentially, that's what happens when we're using oils. It is a chemical reaction. We are a walking chemistry lab. And that is part of the reason why I want to begin. I'm beginning to talk about this more and more, is because we are a walking chemistry lab. And there's chemical reactions happening at all times. And what we put on our body is necessary to know what we're putting on our body and what it could potentially lead to. So enough of that. So that said, anything with limonene, so that would be even things like coriander. That would, like I said, alemi is another one. So alemi and coriander, celery seed, not that you would use celery seed for massage because it's not the greatest aroma. However, and then like I said, all the citrus. So you want to avoid your so know what's in your bottle, and just don't use oils with limonene in it. So if you have a catalog and you're ordering from, or you can speak to somebody that you're buying it from, please do so. On that note, I'm just going to go down the list I have here. And if I'll just, that way, and then I can just add my 2 cents. Because I'm not going to go through the whole list, because some of them on this list is just absolutely a no-no. Like things, for instance, I'll give you another example. Oils that are high in beta-caryophyllene, like copaiba. If your client is taking any sort of, so that's another one, beta-caryophyllene. If your client is using any sort of psychotropic medication, please don't use copaiba on them. It's very high in beta-caryophyllene, like I said, and beta-caryophyllene is... it does interact with a lot of the psychotropic medications because it does affect the endocannabinoid system. It essentially acts in a very similar way to CBD. Beta-caryophyllene is a cannabinoid, so they just don't mix well with psychotropics. On that note, Roman chamomile is a good one. It's very high in angolates, which support the regeneration of glutathione, as well as slowing down the production of ACTH, which is a stress hormone. Just to kind of, I don't need to try and slaughter the word for you. We'll just call it what it is. It's a steroid hormone, ACTH. And if you read my blog, and I'll put that link here, hormonal changes affecting our kids, it affects everybody. So what I identify, and that was written specifically because I've been working a lot with parents and children who are having hormonal issues, but the truth is it's affecting everybody. And I should probably go back and fix the title so that more people understand that this isn't just about our kids. This is about what it's doing to the human body. And ACTH happens to go off the charts when the stress system is activated. So Roman chamomile is very, very helpful with that. And so in fact, that's how I'm going to go through this list. I'm going to start off with a list of oils that are best to have on hand, okay? Because they do soothe the system. And that's the whole purpose to somebody coming in, is to calm the system down. So your top selections for something like that would be Roman chamomile. I would say sandalwood. I'm hesitating with sandalwood because, number one, it's a very expensive oil. And if you can afford to have sandalwood on hand, then please tell me you're charging more than $10 an add-on fee for that, because sandalwood is pricey. And if you say that you can get it for inexpensive, I'd like you to show me your warehouse, because I don't know anybody that can. And if it is inexpensive, chances are it's been adulterated with a component from cedarwood. Sandalwood is highly adulterated for that reason, because it is so expensive. So they cut it with a lesser expensive wood oil that has a similar tone to it. So sandalwood, if it's authentic and you are actually getting your money's worth in return for it. And the reason for sandalwood is because most of them, which one did I note here? East Indian. But a couple of them actually are high in a component called santalol. And santalol actually is a known and estrogen inhibitor, so it actually helps to block the and reappropriate the use of estrogens. So it actually slows, and this is actually, sandalwood actually is really good for, well, it's actually really good for autism. It's really good for that reason, autoimmune disorders. If you have glaucoma that runs in the family, if you have, you know, it's wise to actually have sandalwood around, simply because it does reduce the body's, it eases the body's use of sandalwood. So, of estrogen. That's how I would say that. It eases the use of estrogen, because estrogen is in fact a primary signaling molecule that stimulates the activation of the stress system. So sandalwood would be a really nice one to add in if you know, with the Roman chamomile. And again, Roman chamomile is not cheap either. So I would say you're going to want to make sure that if you have an add-on fee for your massage, you know, or just roll it in without even asking anybody if they want it, oil. I really feel like massage therapists should be using oils all the time. So Roman chamomile is the first one. Sandalwood is the next one. I'm going down the list first of the ones I think you should have on hand, and then we'll get into other ones for additional purposes. So another one that blends well with medications is frankincense, either Sacra or the Katari. Both of those work really, really well with medications. I'm reading off my list here because I'm trying to decipher which ones I want to give you first. And again, those are kind of all herbally woody kind of things. So if your person's looking for, that's the one I didn't add here. If your person's looking for something floral, ylang is a good one for floral, but ylang cannot be mixed with high blood pressure medication. I mean, and so that is one that I would definitely use caution with. You might want to just check in. If they want ylang, just ask them, are you taking a blood pressure medication? Just because it doesn't mix. See, now there's an opportunity to inform, because somebody be like, well, I didn't know that. Why is that? Well, because it's a duplication of action. So that means that the oil is acting like the blood pressure medication, and they could really just, I mean, they'll go away on your table. I mean, I don't believe they're going to go into a coma, but their blood pressure will be really low and potential for dizziness when they get off the table. So again, a floral one that helps to relax them is ylang, but you want to make sure that they're not taking blood pressure medication. Let me go here. All right, so the next one, if another floral is desired and ylang is too strong, you can go with the Palmarosa. It smells very similar to, it's like a cross between a lemongrass and, if you're not familiar with it, a lemongrass and a rosewood. So you can get away with Palmarosa, and that actually helps with helping to calm the autonomic nervous system. So, and here is where it's really great, because as I mentioned, the whole idea here is to not only get them comfortable on the table, it's to begin to provide, to augment, and you could actually incorporate into this, like, well, we're using oils that are going to support your immune system, okay? In this case, Palmarosa actually has antiviral qualities to it. Now, if the person says to you, why, how do you know this is going to protect me, say, from the 2020 virus? Well, you can say, I don't know for certain, but what I can tell you is that plants adapt to the environment. And we currently know that this particular virus is worldwide. The plants are exposed to the virus just as we are, okay? The reason why we're getting tripped up by it is because it's, we have an unstable immune system. That's really what it comes down to. The plants, on the other hand, are exposed to these viruses and bacteria, and they adapt accordingly. So their chemistry is already prepared in protection, because they have to be protected from these bacteria and viruses as well. I've seen farms go down because they got an infection from a GMO field that we've had to help recover. So they are not, when, that's a whole nother, that's a whole nother video. And there's some real truth to this. I mean, the plants will suffer when they're exposed to other plants that have been altered, meaning your GMO fields. So that said, a plant will develop its resilience to the microbes that are out there. I have seen firsthand, we'll give you an example. Oh my gosh, what is that? Oh my gosh. Now this is going to bug me. There is a bacterial infection that we get, not Lyme, MRSA. Sorry, that was hard for me to come up with. MRSA, the MRSA virus, or the MRSA bacteria. Yeah, it's a bacteria. So MRSA, it was originally said years ago that white thyme was able to eradicate, deactivate the MRSA bacteria within a couple of hours, or within a very short period of time of exposure. I mean, really short period of time. And then subsequently over the years, this particular bacteria has mutated. And there's I think at least four different versions of the MRSA bacteria right now. But what they've also done subsequently is they continue to test oils when it comes to these types of microbes, and they've been able to ascertain that there are now other oils that are more effective against the newer strains of MRSA than the original thyme white. So there's an evidence right there to show us that these plants are adapting according to the current strains. Just in case you're wondering, oils that were beneficial, most recent testing against the MRSA was patchouli and geranium were the two that I can recall. I think you could throw thyme white in there because it's still going to be effective, but you would want to combine it with one of the other two, possibly the other three, again, because of the synergy, but that's a whole nother thing. So these are the kinds of conversations you can be having with your clients, because if to use Palmarosa, like I said, it has antiviral qualities, and the batch, whatever oil you purchased today or you purchased last month, it's been harvested this year, it's been produced this year, and of course it's going to continue to be current. It's not like you've got an oil that's been sitting around for 20 years. It's a current production. So you can rest assured that that's actually going to help augment the antimicrobial peptides. Which brings me to the next oil, which, believe it or not, if you've never smelled it, it's very mild, but it's pleasant, and that's turmeric. So if you really have somebody who's on your table and very, very concerned about their their immunity and infection control, and I know you guys are doing everything you can right now to really protect your clients, yourselves, and your rooms, in between patients or clients. So, which is can't say enough how much we appreciate that. But if you start using these kinds of oils, like I said, with the turmeric, now you're really augmenting a resilience, because you're really supporting them in that. Again, it's topical, and we're going to talk about, and I'll just say it right now. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to wait. Sunflower oil. So, to back up, turmeric and Palmarosa would be both very beneficial in helping to augment antimicrobial peptides, as well as providing topical support, protection. And if you used sunflower oil as your carrier, now I know a lot of massage therapists don't like to use the oils because it really destroys, it just gets all over the sheets, and even the clients don't like it because they don't like to be oily. But here's the deal. If we start talking to them along the lines of building immune resilience and keeping them protected, this would keep your practices open longer, and this might actually help build your business, because you're now taking extra steps besides just using the commercial products. You're actually applying it to a person's body. That's a big deal. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, that's a really, really big deal. So Palmarosa and turmeric would be very, very beneficial for helping to protect topically as well as systemically. And if you include sunflower oil on that, and you've explained to these people that sunflower oil also is a highly antioxidant. So it's on the same level of coconut oil. And if you want to use coconut oil, go for it. But coconut oil has an aroma, whereas sunflower oil does not. So that would be your better option. And if you could get them to understand that, I'm certain that you could find ways to help keep it to a minimum, because you don't have to like dump it all over them. You know, you could keep it to a minimum and just where they're kind of glistening, and, you know, maybe give them some paper towels or something afterwards to kind of wipe off, because by the time you're done with the massage, the oils will have metabolized throughout the entire system. They're not wiping any of the essential oil off their skin. So back to oil. So I was saying, okay, so I have vetiver listed here if somebody really wants a woodsy smell. If they're really up in their head or they're really cranked, vetiver and Roman chamomile would really kind of put them in a nice deep state. The reason for the vetiver also is because it does stabilize the immune system. Okay, so it really works to stabilize the immune system. So it's working on the endogenous opioid system, and it improves circulation, and it'll actually even better their night's sleep. So this would be another good one if somebody doesn't mind the really heavy woodsy. But then again, you could add, you know, like I said, if I were going to add anything to it, I would do like a frankincense or the Roman chamomile to kind of lighten it up a little bit. Then we have marjoram sweet. That's another kind of floral one that you might get away with. It's herbally, but it's also a sweet herbal, and it promotes digestive health. It also helps to regulate the hormonal system, and so there again, helping to kind of de-escalate the accumulation of estrogen as a signaling stress. So it kind of works in that area, and because it does, and the reason it supports and the palmarosa is the same thing. It supports the digestive system by allowing acetylcholine to be better used by the body. In fact, what did I want to say? There was one I thought I was gonna say. Okay, well, so I have vetiver, marjoram. Oh, okay, that's what it was. Two more. Well, actually, there's three more. So myrrh is another one. I love myrrh, and myrrh actually works on both the endogenous opiate system and the endocannabinoid system. It's also very grounding and stabilizing of the immune system. So that one is more about helping to get your client just kind of into a very relaxed state. It's also, I've used myrrh historically for muscle spasms. So if your client is having a muscle spasm or has had tight muscles, myrrh is a really good choice for that purpose. So I would recommend, I like it for that reason as well. But like I said, it also works on the endogenous opiate system and the endocannabinoid system, which are essential for helping to stabilize the immune system. Then there's black pepper, obviously spicy, and one that I would suggest, again, for its antiviral properties. So here we have black pepper, turmeric, and palmarosa. Exceptional choices to have on hand. And again, the palmarosa is floral. It would be countered with the turmeric and the black pepper, and would be very beneficial, again, topically as well as systemically. And then finally, helichrysum. If you have somebody who has broken skin, a rash on their skin, or redness on the skin, I would suggest helichrysum. It's a very sweet. When I say sweet, I mean sweet. I love it. I love the aroma of helichrysum. I'm not a real floral person, so it's not floral in that sense. It's still another herbally kind of smell. And yet again, it also works on the endocannabinoid system, supporting the immune system. Most people don't realize that. I know we talk about it with CBD and whatnot, but the endogenous opiate system and the endocannabinoid system go hand in hand. They depend upon one another. And so with helichrysum, like I said, I would highly recommend it if you have somebody who happens to have a rash on their body somewhere, and or just basic redness. It's very good for the skin, and more importantly for helping to stabilize that immune system. And then there is one more, which is one of my favorites, and that's galbanum. Galbanum it's primo, and one more herbal one. But yet again, it's got alpha-pinene in it. And so we're going to get on to alpha-pinene here in a minute. But this alpha-pinene is an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. And what that means, so this is for anybody, and so anybody who's taking any kind of medication for Parkinson's, so if you have a Parkinson's patient come in, you might not want to use galbanum on them because it's counterintuitive. You can lead to interactions with that. But that said, it works fine otherwise. And I particularly, this would also be, I'm trying to think what else. It has a slight amount of limonene in it. I'm not really too concerned about it, truthfully, because of the amount of beta-pinene and alpha-pinene in it, because it's really working on the nervous system. And so if you have, generally, if somebody has some kind of nerve damage of any kind, galbanum is actually a really good option. And again, it's very calming, so it's going to help relax them, get them into a relaxed state as well, and really soothe any sort of nervous system. It doesn't make any difference whether it's paresthesia or neuropathy. It'll really be very beneficial for getting that. I have, I'll be straight up with you. I don't know, you may or may not know this. I have a metal plate that was placed in my foot in August of this year, and I actually use galbanum on that because there's days, obviously with the bone trying to attach to this, I can feel the nerves, and it's just it's not joint pain, it's nerve pain. It's very tender, and so I'll use galbanum, and it goes away. Sometimes I throw turmeric on there for the same reason. So galbanum would be good for those kinds of issues when you're doing body work. And so that's what I have in the way of oils. If you have any questions, I'm happy to supply you with this list of oils if you don't want to go back through. I'll read them off to you one more time, but I just want to highlight the ones that are exceptionally good for this time, regardless of what strain we're exposed to, whether it's a bacterial strain or a viral strain. The use of and the inclusion of essential oils is virtually a must at this point, because everybody is up here, energy-wise, nervous-wise, stress-wise, and then that's creating more instability in the immune system. So if we can begin to help implement some level of stabilization through oil suggestions like this, we're really adding to the health benefit of massage therapy. So the antimicrobial ones are turmeric, black pepper, palmarosa, and I would even say, just those are the ones. I would just, Oh, you know what I did? I actually left one out. So, okay, God, I'm so sorry. So, this is a little scattered. So okay, the antimicrobial, black pepper, palmarosa, and turmeric. There you go. In a carrier of sunflower oil, and I would recommend sunflower oil, period. And just, like I said, use a little bit because topically it does, in fact, help to protect the body outside antimicrobially, and then with the addition of the oils, it also protects it systemically. Roman chamomile is your next one because it helps to reduce the production of ACTH, which is your stress hormone. Myrrh, because it supports both the endocannabinoid and the endogenous opiate system. It's a great muscle relaxer, especially if you want to combine it with things like Roman chamomile, okay? Black pepper, actually, that combination, Roman chamomile, myrrh, and black pepper would be, wow, for muscle relaxation. Next up, the one I didn't mention was goldenrod. And the reason I suggest goldenrod is it's very benign in the sense that it doesn't interact with other medications, but it supports the lymph system, the kidney, and the liver, which is huge, because as you're doing this kind of work, obviously we need to help the body flush it out. And so goldenrod is very, very good for that. Especially if somebody is dealing with a lot of anger issues or is facing it, even living with depression, whether either you sense it or they've told you this, that they're taking an antidepressant. Goldenrod is very, very good for that because it kind of helps to uplift without being too much. It just really kind of supports more of an uplifting and fluidity in the system. Frankincense, again, another expensive one, like sandalwood. So, but those two are both very good. The sandalwood, obviously, because of the fact that it contains santalol, and it blocks, or I should say, alters the body's use of estrogen as a signaling molecule for stress. Vetiver, for the fact that it helps to stabilize the immune system and the hormonal system and improve circulation. There again, goldenrod and vetiver, boom, baby. Good combination for helping to keep the fluids moving. Marjoram sweet, if they happen to mention that they have digestive issues or they're a little anxious, but they like something more floral, herbally floral, marjoram sweet is a good one to have on hand. Palmarosa for those who do like floral. And Palmarosa, besides being an antiviral, also supports methylation. So if you happen to be talking to them and they mention something about MTHFR, Palmarosa is your go-to oil for that because it supports the folate cycle. It also supports the production of glutathione, one more antioxidant that we're stimulating. And then again, helichrysum, because it supports the endocannabinoid system, as well as any kind of skin issues that might be presented during the, and again, helichrysum is another expensive one, so I can't say this enough. Please make sure you're charging enough for these add-ons. But again, this is something you should maybe just roll into the cost, as it is essential to be doing this with every single one of them, because I can see the inclusion of oils at this level being just taking your business to the next level. Galbanum, again, because of its ability to really wind that body down, just really wind it down, and any sort of nerve damage that has occurred throughout their lifetime, or through any kind of illness, whether, like I said, neuropathy, paresthesia, any kind of nerve damage, galbanum is your go-to for that. And it blends well with virtually any one of them. And then there's ylang, and ylang for those rural heavy, I like heavy floral kind of people. At the same time, please make sure they're not taking blood pressure medications. Okay, and as far as the final note on alpha-pinene is concerned, alpha-pinene is, as I mentioned a little while ago, an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. And acetylcholinesterase inhibitors are medications that are administered for people who are living with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and frequently with movement disorders. So, granted, now in an oil, it's not as concentrated as a medication. So, it's going to be relaxing, but it's not going to be full on. But the challenge that we face by administering oils with alpha-pinene in them is the fact that they could interact at the liver level, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, CYP450, as well as how the body is clearing it, whether that be through sulfation pathway or the primarily serum albumin, okay, along with the CYP450 enzymes. So taking all of that, and because we're duplicating the mechanism of action, meaning helping to kind of relax the body and reappropriate the use of acetylcholine, because that's what it's doing. It's keeping acetylcholine in the body longer, because acetylcholine, like estrogen, is also a stress system activator. And what happens is it gets all bogged into stressing this, activating and keeping the body stressed. This is the reason for movement disorders, and what we're wanting to do is bring acetylcholine throughout the rest of the body, which now improves digestion, bowel movements, muscle relaxation, helping to relieve rigidity. So you don't want to combine that with those kinds of medications, because that's what these do. And if you do have questions about oils with alpha-pinene and wanting to take it into your practice, I'm happy to talk with you. Join me over in the group Revolutionary Aromatherapy. That's where I really have the deeper discussions on all of these. So, come on over there, request to join, and we can talk about how to implement these further into your practice. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. I appreciate you watching. And until next week, Merry Christmas and have a really beautiful holiday. See ya.